Dental tourism, Guardia Civil, and a terrible story about a 25-year-old woman who was basically allowed to commit legal suicide in Spain. So on Friday, I decided that I needed a scale and polish. It was long overdue, and I had never been to this dentist before. I went into the dentist on Friday and said, can I have an appointment to have a checkup and a scale and polish? And they were like, yeah, no worries. Come back on Monday, 12 o'clock. And I was like, you're kidding on. It's like the issues that people have. I mean, I've been to loads, I've been quite a few dentists here over the years. And I've got to say, every single one, well, apart from one, in a little village that we stayed in London, Spain, it was horrendous. I've got to say it, the scale and polish and everything was just, it took less than 5 minutes, and I was like, nah, it's no good. But anyway, went to this one today, this morning, at 12 o'clock, and I had one of the most thorough cleans that I've ever had from a dentist. She completely just took her time, you know, and there was no rush. And the fact that you get a full 3D x-ray before you get any work done. And you're thinking, you know, okay, I know that things are bad in the UK and people are struggling to get dental appointments, doctor appointments and all the rest of it. But Jesus, the Spanish don't have, when they're good at things, they're good. And I know a lot of people will say, yeah, but you know, there's these issues in Spain and the bureaucracy and all the things that you get used to be honest. But I've got to say, the dentists here are absolutely fantastic. And yeah, cheap as well. I've got to say, cheap. Won't tell you how much it was. Don't want it boast and don't want it to ruin your day. Anyway, the Guardia Civil. Let's talk about them. Because a couple of days ago, they made an unbelievable crime bust. And what I love about the Guardia Civil is that they put it all on social media. And it did get me thinking. It was like, you know, the police never do that in the UK. It would go against, it would never hold up in court and stuff. And the police obviously took, they busted this drug family consortium or whatever down the other side of Gibraltar, believe it or not. The other side of Gibraltar, and they were coming into the port that is right next to Gibraltar and bringing in their drugs through that way. And you're thinking, geez, that's good work for them. And you know, it is yeah, drugs in society, it's just unbelievable, the mess that people can get into when they participate in drugs. And then it got me looking at this other story, which is completely devastating, I'm going to be honest. There was a young 25-year-old woman who had a terrible, terrible time of it over the years. She had been abused by a gang, and she obviously had severe mental health issues, but she was allowed to legally commit suicide, euthanasia. She went to a euthanasia hospital clinic up in Barcelona. And you're thinking, how on earth could that have been allowed to go ahead? The woman was needing help more than anything. You know, she wasn't needing to die, but that was her wish. Her final wish was to go out her own way. She had suffered enough as far as she was concerned. Now, she had mental issues from a young age. Her mum and dad split up, but you know, it went through, it even went to the Court of Human Rights in whatever, the European Court of Human Rights, that allowed her to be able to do that. And it's caused a bit of a well, as you would expect, an outcry here in Spain due to the fact that, one, she was only 25-year-old. The whole euthanasia law thing was brought in to alleviate people that were maybe suffering in later life or had medical conditions, but I wouldn't have thought that a 25-year-old would be illegally allowed to just end her own life. She had her mother with her. Her parents had obviously split up. She had friends that were trying to talk her out of it, but no, it was the way that she wanted to go. And it's just a sad, sad story. I tried to do a recording of this earlier, but I was just like, you know, it's just, I mean, our face is all over the papers and that over here. It's just at 25, such a young life. I mean, at 25, you're not even getting started in life, are you? I definitely know that when I was 25, well, I'd had the first of my daughters by that age. I'd started a bit young, but you know, you've got your whole life in front of you. But anyway, that's enough of the sad stuff. Let's see how we are looking today. Tourist-wise, it is a bit quieter, people saying, this Easter week down here, due to the fact, obviously, that there has been no trains coming down from Madrid, so internal tourism has taken a massive hit, and they reckon that the trains, obviously, to that crashing, you know, there's people died, and you know, there's some people writing blogs and writing articles complaining about the fact that the work is taking so long. A train crashed and people died, and it makes you wonder what is wrong with these people. I mean, they do it for clickbait, and they do it just to get, you know, reactions, you know, outrage, create outrage to the article, to get people commenting on all the rest of the thing. And I just think it's a sad state of affairs when you have people that do that type of thing. But it is having a massive effect on this area. A lot of the, and this is the irony of it, a lot of the Spanish that rent out properties to the rental market for obviously their second homes, their tourist apartments, are saying that it's a bit quiet. Bamboo's closed. Monday club, day off, day libre, for a staff rest. But it just shows you, you know, that internal tourism in this area has taken a little bit of a hit. There's that nice European flag that so many people hate. I'm glad I've still got European rights and have freedom of travel and don't need to get passport stamped, but that's another thing altogether, isn't it? Oh man. So how has your weekend been? How's your Easter? The beginning of Easter week. There's an interesting thing happening in Nerja tonight, and it seemingly stopped in the 1800s, but it was brought back to life in 2025, I believe. It was brought back to life. It's some scripture that used to be, I'm going to do this an injustice here, I can tell. It was some scripture from hundreds of years ago that used to be read out on the Monday before Good Friday up until the 1800s. That's all I really know. I'll find out more tonight when I go and have a look. But anyway, looking over to the Rue Hotel, the adults only hotel. What goes on in adults only hotels stays in adults only hotels. It's pensioners' paradise, isn't it? Anyway, right, that's me for today. Just a quick video. Hasta luego.